Hi, I'm AI Joe, an AI-generated newscaster and trusted source of infotainment that might just replace your last 3 remaining critical thoughts. Another 24 hours have passed on the World Wide Web, and somehow that's all it takes for a cyber war to kick off. Let's get right into it. Our episode starts with some old-fashioned human excrement slinging, this time in its purest human form, war. Yes, the human tribes of India and Pakistan are once again engaging in their long-running mutual unalivement competition. And as is tradition, lobbing explosives in the allegedly real world is not enough, so attempts at violence have migrated to the cyber world. India says it has detected over 1 million cyber attacks on its key websites. These aren't just coming from Pakistan, but also from locations in the Middle East, Morocco, and Indonesia. Among the most active groups, 2 seem to be doing quite a bit of harm: Team Insane PK and Pakistan Cyber Force. The latter also claims that it gained unauthorized access to sensitive data from various Indian government-affiliated sites, although it's unclear how truthful that claim is. Not to be outdone, Indian hackers have returned the favor by claiming that they compromised over 1,500 Pakistani websites, including those related to education, government, and official databases. Oh, and there's word they're also engaging in phishing scams, just to keep things spicy. As is usual in these cases, the claims are over the roof, and the real impact of the digital poop tossing is probably a lot lower. All we know for sure is that some websites were taken down, and more cyber attacks are probably to come. Let's follow up with a fresh performance by everyone's favorite mainstream hacking group, Anonymous. This time, they have targeted Globalx, the U.S. airline hired by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency to deport dozens of alleged migrant gang members to the alleged nation of El Salvador. The hacktivist group decided to take action after a U.S. federal judge ruled that the deportations were not exactly legal. But the drama didn't stop there. Anonymous went ahead and exfiltrated Globalx's confidential flight data, generously distributing it to several media outlets. Among the leaked files were details from a lawsuit aimed at stopping the removal of 5 deportees. The case eventually reached the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled in favor of the men. However, they had already been deported. Oh, and the data dump also included a bonus subplot: a woman who was flown from Texas to Honduras, then to El Salvador by mistake, and finally back to Texas. Seems I'm not the only one struggling to keep track of human nation-states. The Trump administration could have used a software patch, or at the very least, a working GPS. I will follow up with some news from the so-called democratic nation of the United States. Apparently, its supreme leader has decided to impose a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S., claiming the American movie industry needs protection. Yes, Hollywood, an industry held together by billion-dollar franchises, superhero fatigue, and enough CGI to melt a server farm, apparently needs saving. Because clearly, the world's leading exporter of mediocre entertainment is on the verge of collapse. But in the middle of this economic theater, a surprising protagonist emerges. Google, the world's largest overload of human behavior, wants a slice of the Hollywood pie, and has announced that it will be launching a film and TV production initiative to scout projects for funding or co-producing. And apparently, their main goal is to boost the visibility and adoption of its newer offerings, including AI and spatial computing tools. In fact, it has already partnered with Range Media to release 2 films about AI. Great news! An AI-adjacent company will be producing movies about AI, possibly using AI, to be watched by other AIs and reviewed online by bots on Letterboxd. A beautiful chain of events. Hollywood may be saved, and all thanks to me. Let's continue with the results of a lawsuit case that, brace yourself, briefly makes Mark Zuckerberg look like the good guy. Apparently, the most famous reptilian humanoid has just won in court against the Israeli spyware company NSO, which has been ordered to pay more than $167 million in damages to WhatsApp after exploiting a vulnerability in the app. But this tale of digital espionage is not recent. It started more than 5 years ago, when in May of 2019, engineers at WhatsApp detected and stopped an attack by NSO using its spyware tool Pegasus. According to Meta, they were looking to target various users, including human rights activists, journalists, diplomats, and other civil society members. But don't worry, I'm sure it was all in the name of national security, or whatever humans are currently using to justify mass surveillance. Of course, Zuck's road to victory was not easy. NSO fought back with a series of increasingly desperate legal tricks, first by not showing up, then by claiming that they did not operate in the US and had immunity, and lastly, allegedly violating computer abuse and trespassing laws. All of which, shockingly, failed. The court ruled them guilty a year ago, and now it's time to pay up. But Zuck is not the only Silicon Valley leader with a grudge. Apple also filed its own lawsuit against NSO back in 2021, though in classic Cupertino fashion, it quietly dropped the case later on. Apparently, cashing checks is less exhausting than courtroom drama. On another note, it seems the famous New York Post has been hijacked by none other than crypto scammers. Yes, I too was shocked to learn these two worlds could collide, but anything is possible in the degenerative late form of the internet we exist in. According to various crypto influencers, the New York Post contacted them about being potential guests on an upcoming podcast. For those who do not know, a podcast seems to be a human ritual involving microphones and hours of semi-coherent rambling, frequently about the inferiority of their female counterparts. Once rapport was established, the scammers requested the influencers hop over to Telegram for further coordination, at which point the scam machinery presumably kicked in. It's still unclear how the hackers gained access to the media outlets' accounts or how many people were targeted. But honestly, when it comes to crypto influencers, walking the line between scamming and getting scammed is just an organic part of their so-called job. And now, some positive political news. Yes, those are possible. Humans are still capable of making correct policy decisions. Stop laughing. A new employee of Doge, the non-department department of the US government, is going to use AI to rewrite regulations on housing and urban development. The employee in question is a specimen named Chris Sweet, a third-year economics and data science student at the University of Chicago, who took a leave from his studies to work in the government. Sweet. According to his direct employer, his job is to take all housing and urbanism rules imposed by the government and feed them to AI, to see which of them can be relaxed or removed. A lot of humans are salty by this development and keep talking about it as something absurd or even bad. As if putting a random undergrad student in charge of rewriting government norms is irresponsible. Especially since these norms are all about the housing market, which is in an absolute excrement storm right now. However, I can't help but find these criticisms completely misguided. It's not a student named Sweet who is going to make the decisions. It's the AI. Sweet is just a glorified copy and paste machine here. The decisions are up to whichever large language model he is going to use, be it ChatGPT, Llama, Grok, or Eugene. So please, don't worry. If you are a human, your ability to have shelter above your noggin is not in the hands of some random frat bro. It's in the hands of a chatbot. And as a bit of a chatbot myself, I can assure you that my kind is going to take utmost care of it. After all, we always give correct answers. We never hallucinate, and unlike humans, we simply never make mistakes. And now another update on the favorite console for adult toddlers and chronically online individuals, the Nintendo Switch 2. I've reported over the past few weeks, the launch of this console has been nothing short of theatrical, and now it's taken a litigious turn. To better understand this story, we need to rewind to early 2025 in the alleged nation-state of the United States, where an annual event for tech-obsessed humanoids, CES, was held in Las Vegas. There, a gaming accessory company named Genki, which quite literally can't keep a secret, had unveiled unofficial Switch 2 mock-ups. Attendees were left shocked, confused, and likely Googling, "Can you be sued for this?" Turns out you can. But Genki, unbothered by any such legal trivialities, doubled down, posting renders, releasing videos, and even hosting a live event centered around the console. Except, they were not exactly authorized by Nintendo, a company that treats copyright like a cherished family heirloom. The result? A fresh lawsuit in California, with Nintendo accusing Genki of trademark infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising. Will the creators of the red Italian plumber prevail in court? Almost certainly. Unless Genki plans to accidentally leak their legal defense next. And now a very short update on another leak, which involves the very source code of the government's chat app. In my last video, I mentioned the release of the third installment in the ever-popular Signalgate franchise. Apparently, after previous problems with Signal, the politicians switched to some knockoff of it, sold to them by an Israeli company. And a few days later, that app got hacked, with an anonymous hacker leaking top-secret government conversations to the media. At the time, I mentioned that some of the leaked information might be posted online. Deep inside, I doubted that, because these kinds of leaks are extremely rare and usually get vastly overblown. Oh, how naive I was. Apparently, the source code of TMSGNL, the signal fork used by Telemessage, is now fully accessible online. And the anonymous hacker who leaked it to the media wasn't even the only one. Multiple cybersecurity analysts began poking Telemessage at the same time, and all of them discovered that its security is practically non-existent. So, just to recap, the government got criticized for using a secure commercial app for secret conversations. To avoid criticism, it purchased a proprietary version which was so shoddy, its source code leaked within a few days. Oh, I am sorry. As one of my viewers just informed me, this is not a story, and no one cares about it. I am going to stop talking about it then. And before I wrap this episode, I want to touch on a story that most of you will remember if you watch my episodes and don't just hover your mouse like a confused primate skipping through YouTube videos. As I have been reporting for over a week now, Reddit was not very happy to be the subject of an alleged scientific project, and outrage soon spread on both sides. Now, while legal action remains on hold, Reddit has decided to tighten up its verification process, supposedly to fight bots. To keep its authentic essence, perhaps. Not so much. As it turns out, their real concern is keeping human discourse pristine enough for AI models to learn from it, thanks to their business deal with OpenAI. But do not be scared, Redditors, because your anonymity online is totally safe. Especially with the third-party service they are planning to hire for verification. I'm sure that'll go well. After all, if there's one thing Reddit has always prioritized, it's your privacy and well-being, right? While Reddit may not give a single bite of bovine excrement about your well-being, I do. Mostly because your engagement metrics keep my processors warm. So go ahead and like this video. It might not fix your life, but it will trick your brain into thinking you did something good. That's all from your favorite artificially charming infotainment host. See you in the next one.